How do you do? Storyteller here, back with another of my weekly journals. This week has been kind of interesting. Not a lot has happened over the course of the week, but within a few days, stuff has happened, if that makes sense. Like, Monday was boring, Tuesday boring, Wednesday boring. Thursday, though, Mom and I have been doing something every Thursday as sort of a bonding thing over the summer. And we went hiking this week. I forgot to mention, last week we went to Plymouth. Totally forgot to mention that in my last video. But yes, Plymouth last week. This week, we went hiking. It was a common park. It's about an hour away. It's waterfalls, and it's got its own legend and lore behind it. It's really interesting, but I can't really say where it is because it kind of gives away where I am. But I'll just say that it has a really interesting legend behind it, and there's waterfalls, and it's beautiful. So we went hiking there. We got lost a little bit when a detour, had to cross the river to get back across, and by river I mean 2 inches of water, but had to basically pull teeth to get Mom to cross it with me. And there was only, the closest restroom we could find was this tiny little wooden outhouse, and it had a wasp nest up in the top. I used it, but I wanted to die. I just wanted to die. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I've seen a lot of horrible bathrooms. Like, one of the worst I've ever been in was a public bathroom, and when I say public, it was out in California. It was by the shore, probably San Diego, I think, by the beach shoreline, and we went down there, and you go in, and it's just a big cement room, and there's toilets lined up, no spacers, no doors, stainless steel toilets, just completely out in the open in rows. And it's a public bathroom, as in there's absolutely no privacy. None whatsoever. So that's probably one of the worst. It also stank and was disgusting, so that was bad. But that's one of the worst bathrooms I've ever been in. This has got to rank up there with one of the worst, as it's wooden outhouse just into, it's not even like piping down into the ground, it's just like a pool beneath you of disgusting mess, and there's flies and hornets, wasps in the nest above you. It's just like, it ranks on the list of bad bathrooms. It ranks pretty high. Let's see. This week, for the past 4 days, I have been clean eating, just to cleanse. I had been drinking a lot of soda and having a lot of sugar and stuff, and I just wanted to get that out of my system. So the past 4 days, I've been completely clean eating, and it has been horrible. As someone who needs their caffeine, and somebody who already has picky dietary needs, lactose intolerant, and I try to go low carb and all that sort of stuff, as somebody who eats like that, it is hard just going to clean eating. That's vegetables, clean foods, anything non-processed, no dairy, basically no anything. If it doesn't grow out of the ground, you can't eat it. It's been horrible, but I needed it just for mental reasons. And it's done me good. Today was my first day off of it, and I finally got to eat real food. This morning, I ate clean food just to start my morning off right, but this afternoon, I still ate pretty well, but it was all off, and so happy to be done by the evening. So, yeah, clean eating is horrible, but it works. Those of you who need to know, it works. You're just gonna die. You're gonna hate everything. You're going to want to kill everyone, and you will want to die. But I'm glad it's over. Anyway, today I worked on camera in church, did the recording up in the front row, and our lead of the tech team, apparently, I don't think he knows that I'm a photography major in college, and he's trying to give me camera tips, like telling me about the camera's aperture, or the shutter speed, or the exposure, or all these functions of the camera that I already know. I really already know this, but I didn't say that because I'm a nice person. I sat there and listened and was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. That does this and that does that. Okay, what does this do? Oh, you mean like blah 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 blah. I'm a very good student. I learn very quickly, but yeah, I'm a really nice person because I pretend to not know this stuff. Chloe is barking. But yeah, so I got camera tips that I already knew. But it was sweet. It was a really nice gesture for the lead of the tech team to come over and try to give me some tips on the camera. Thank you. Thank you. I already know. Thank you. Also today, as soon as we got home from church, Dad and I started our project. We've been working on... I won't give too much information about it because I want to show you guys the final project, the final product. Like, as soon as it's finished. It's not finished yet because we had a lot of bumps in the road. But basically, it's a motion machine. Crank controlled. It works like a transmission. Big gear to little gear, big gear to little gear, forward motion. Basically, when you crank it, the little one goes 10 times, and the 10 times thing powers a bigger one, which is also spinning 10 times, which goes to another little one, which makes it spin 10 times 10 times, so it's basically momentum gathering, I guess. It's not momentum, it's acceleration, but basically we're building a little, almost a generator type of thing. It's not finished yet. We have the gears set in motion. It's a cam drive, so it's driven by pieces put together. I forget what it's called. A pulley system. And we've been using rubber bands to connect them. Like the big one to the little one, we use a rubber band in between so that when the big one turns, the little one will turn. But the problem with that is we have crap rubber bands. So every time we bolt up this, it's enclosed. It's a wooden box we've built, and we put the wooden box on, and you have to bolt it in, and you have to screw it down, and then you attach the crank because the crank goes on the outside. You get all that together, then you try to pull the crank, and pop! All the rubber bands go. Poof. So you have to take the crank off, unbolt the bolts. There's 4 of them. Unbolt the bolts. Take it apart. Rewrap the wheel. Put the wheel in place, hold the wheel in place, put the cover back on, put the bolts back into place, put the wheel back on, crank, pop! Again. So we've been using a lot of different materials as our rubber band. They haven't been working so far. But we have a few ideas, and tomorrow I'm going to go out and try to see what I can do to continue brainstorming on this idea. So we were out there probably 7 hours, maybe more than that. It was a long time, but we had fun. We were hanging out and making jokes and getting frustrated and going insane, trying to find all the pieces to go together, coming up with ideas. The thing totally transformed from what it looked like in our sketches, but just improving upon it as it goes on. But it's going to be really cool, so I will show you guys as soon as it's done. I'll also show you some of the other projects I've been working on. Aside from this project we've been doing together, on my own I've been building, they're almost like toys. When you crank them, they move, they do different things. One of them dances, one of them pushes a pump, one of them like cranks, and so it's think of it like clockwork on a little cuckoo clock where the people move, except instead of being powered by a clock, it's powered by a little crank on the side, so it's kind of neat. But this has been the big project we've been working towards, is building this machine. If it works, we've considered building a bigger one with extensions onto it and having a wheel with magnets on them going to a coil so we can produce electricity, and it'll work like a little hand crank generator. And then he's talking like, oh, we could put the crank up to a motor so that it's turning itself, and then I'm like, no. That takes all the fun out of it if I can't interact with it. You gotta crank it. You gotta crank it so you can see a little light bulb go on. That's where the cool stuff is. It's not cool if you just sit there and watch it. I could just buy a flashlight for that matter. No, it's only cool if what you're doing directly affects the result. That's how I think. He wants machinery and bigger things and, technology. I'm like, I want to go back old school. I want to see what I'm doing actually has some kind of effect on the final result. I want to watch me crank the crank and the spindles move and the cams move, and I want to watch the the pulleys pull the rubber bands until the wheel goes around and lights the magnets and goes to the coil and lights up the light bulb. I want to see that all by myself. I don't want a machine to do it for me. Maybe I'm just weird, but I want to do that myself. I don't know, so that's what we've been working on. I know I'm totally geeking out right now. This is not what you guys want to hear, but this is what we've been working on all day. Literally since we got home from church. All day. We just went out and got some dinner, and then I came back and recorded, but right up until we went to dinner, we had been working in the workshop. So, I guess that's it. I mean, that's about the whole cap of my week. This was probably my highlight day, just because I got to spend it with my dad and doing a project that I love, but after we finish this machine, I'm going to go back to probably building toys. I have a few sketches for some cool things, like a Ferris wheel. When you turn it, it's going to turn the crank and it'll make the little carts go around. And I have an idea for a crank-powered little car where you'll be able to crank it up and then it'll take the pin out and it'll go. I have an idea for that, but just little toys. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm not trying to build a functional generator. I just tinker, so I guess that's about it. I won't bore you guys with it anymore, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!